Until you start playing and until you start singing, you don't know what you're going to create. You have no idea what's inside of you until you start trying to push the boundaries of who you think you are and what you think you can do. For me, the buzz is to live a multidimensional life wherein my family life is important, my business life is a priority, but my creative life is something that is bubbling all the time.
Feels like love to all.
In my early life, I had pretty much a classical education with music. You know, fairly disciplined piano teacher who was teaching me Mozart and Beethoven and Chopin and all of those things, which was a great background. And my dad was playing the organ in the local church. I was in amongst classical music from the age of 2, you know. So obviously when I got to school, then I was starting to hear all kinds of other music. The early music that I liked best was kind of like David Bowie, Alice Cooper, Jimi Hendrix, Lou Reed, King Crimson, Rolling Stones, and Pink Floyd, of course. You know, I started getting to see some of my cousin's live gigs as well. When I went round to her apartment, she had, you know, just masses of guitars all over the place. There was always loads of musicians. So that was quite a big influence for me. By the time I left school, I'd established that playing the piano was a means of connecting with myself. Playing the piano was a means of getting up in the morning and saying, I wonder what this day has to offer. I wonder what inspiration is coming to visit me today. It was probably around that time that I was starting to read Freud and Jung. I was reading Carlos Castaneda about, I was starting to get an interest in spiritual direction, in Eastern mysticism. So I was really, as we all are perhaps at that time in our lives, starting to explore, well, what is this that I'm in here? What is what is this life that I'm in? What is this world that I'm in? And what is my inner life? So the piano was a means wherein I discovered something of that. That was a great period of expansion, which was like the beginning of the late 70s, early 80s. The other influence at that time was I started traveling, so I went around Africa quite a bit, and I went 6 months traveling around South America. So I then came in touch with authentic music from around the world. Through Dana, I started meeting a lot of professional musicians. So I met people like Jimmy Page, and you know, he was just jamming, and there was a bunch of us just playing drums and messing around in the background. And I used to make compilations on tapes and give them around to mates. I think the process of choosing the tracks for the compilations was very much part of my process of saying, well, what do I prioritize? What qualities of music do I really like? To me, they were very uplifting times in terms of that musical stimulus, because, you know, needless to say, at that time, you're also saying, well, what the hell am I going to do with my life?